What is reading? Reading is a means of language acquisition, communication, and sharing of information and ideas.
Why teach reading? Many reasons why read English text is an important part of the teacher's job. First, many of them want to be able to read text in English either for their careers, for study purposes, or simply for pleasure. It is useful for other purposes too. Any exposure to English, provided students understand it more or less, is a good thing for language students. Reading texts provide good model for English writing. When we teach the skill of writing, we will need to show students models of what we are encouraging them to do. Reading texts also provide opportunities to study language vocabulary, grammar, punctuation, and the way we construct sentences, paragraphs, and text. What kind of reading should students do? There has been frequent discussion about what kinds of reading texts are suitable for English language students. The greatest controversy has centered on whether the text should be authentic or not. That is because people have worried about more traditional language teaching materials, which tended to look artificial and to use oversimplified language which any native speaker would find comical and untypical. A balance has to be struck between real English on the one hand and the student's capabilities and interests on the other. The important thing is that such texts are as much like real English as possible. It must appropriate with their level. The topics and types of reading texts are worth considering too.
Using authentic material and approach. For students to develop communicative competence in reading, classroom and homework reading activities must resemble, or be, real-life reading texts that involve meaningful communication. They must therefore be authentic in three ways. 1. The reading material must be authentic. It must be the kind of material that students will need and want to be able to read when traveling, studying abroad, or using the language in other contexts outside the classroom. 2. The reading purpose must be authentic. Students must be reading for reasons that make sense and have relevance to them, because the teacher assigned it. It's not an authentic reason for reading a text. 3. The reading approach must be authentic. Students should read the text in a way that matches the reading purpose, the type of text, and the way people normally read. Strategies for reading comprehension. 1. Identifying the purpose of reading. 2. Use graphemic rules and patterns to aid in bottom-up decoding, especially for beginner-level learners. 3. Use efficient silent reading technique for relatively rapid comprehension for intermediate to advanced level. 4. Skip the text for main ideas. 5. Scan the text for specific information. 6. Use semantic mapping or clustering. 7. Guess when you are not certain. 8. Analyze vocabulary. 9. Distinguish between literal and implied meaning. And the last 10. Capitalize on discourse marker to process relationship.
Types of classroom reading performance. Variety of reading performance in the language classroom is derived more from the variety of texts to which you can expose students than from the variety of other types of performance. Classroom reading performance divided into two main ways. The first one is oral and the second one is silent. The silent reading is divided into two, intensive and extensive. There are linguistic and content in intensive reading. On the other hand, there are skimming, scanning, and global in extensive reading. Types of classroom reading performance. 1. Oral and silent reading. Occasionally, you will have reasons to ask a student to read orally. At the beginning and intermediate levels, oral reading can A. Serve as an evaluative check on bottom-up processing skills, B. Double as a pronunciation check, and C. Serve to add some extra student participation. For advanced levels, usually only advantage C can be gained by reading orally. As a rule of thumb, you want to use oral reading to serve these three purposes because the disadvantages of too much oral reading can easily come into play. A. Oral reading is not very authentic language activity. B. While one student is reading, others can easily lose attention. C. It may have the outward appearance of students' participation when in reality it is mere recitation. 2. Intensive and extensive reading. Silent reading may be subcategorized into intensive and extensive reading. Intensive reading, analogs to intensive listening, is usually a classroom-oriented in which students focus on the linguistics or semantics detail of passage. Extensive reading is carried out to achieve a general understanding as a usual somewhat longer text. Most extensive reading is performed outside class time.
What are principles behind the teaching of reading? Principle 1. Reading is not a passive skill. Principle 2. Students need to be engaged with what they are reading. Principle 3. Students should be encouraged to respond to the content of a reading text, not just to the language. Principle 4. Prediction is a major factor in reading. Principle 5. Match the text to the topic. Principle 6. Good teacher exploit reading text to the full.